Robin Sachs, our legal analyst. We're just getting word about Jorn van der Sloot. Tell us what's going on here.
So Jorn van der Sloot went to court today, and as expected, he pled guilty to the murder charge. He made what he says is an honest confession, hoping that he's going to get some sort of lenient sentence. And if he serves his time in Aruba...
Wait, I don't understand. How can you do that?
You can ask for a
place... Like I can do, if I'm guilty, I say I want to serve my time in France. I mean, how does that work?
The countries have to work together to cooperate, but listen, we do it here in Los Angeles and California all the time.
Explain that.
If someone is from a different place...
Right. But committed the crime here.
But committed the crime here, if you work out a deal with that other jurisdiction, for the argument of being closer to family, being closer to legal resources, being closer to support system.
And guess what? This criminal.
That's exactly right. The motivation is why would we want to pay
the reason
for that person?
We want to, because dispensing justice means to dispense it on the turf where the crime is committed. That's the answer.
I agree. Why should you suddenly I want to be close to my family? Why do you have any rights? If you murdered somebody, just...
I absolutely agreed with you, and in this case, I would doubt that Peru would willy-nilly just give him up.
They would take such heat if they did.
Well, the victims...
Well, it happens a lot, though, you're saying.
The victims have a huge impact in this case. That's the big difference between Peru and what happens here in the United States. In Peru, the victims actually get to participate in both the investigation and in the trial. And I think that I would be, if I was his attorney, very fearful of these people who had a very, very strong feeling that this was not a murder having anything to do with Natalee Holloway. That is the defense theory.
Yeah.
Their theory is this was a straight, good old-fashioned murder for money.
Hey, so you got away with it once, you can get away with it.
Will they still get to speak? Will the family members still get to speak even though he's copping a plea?
Well, what happened today in court was he went through his rendition of what happened. That was his honest confession.
Which they do not believe.
Right. The prosecution came up with their theory and laid out in front of the court.
What did he say happened then?
He's saying that he was completely distraught and he was under psychological pressure given what has happened in his life over the Natalee Holloway case.
So kill somebody else? That'll make it better?
That was his theory.
Not of right mind. Not of right mind.
He was emotionally distraught.
Well, if you murder somebody,
that's right.
You pretty much aren't in the right mind, unless it's defense.
No. If you're holding somebody up and you kill them, you're in your right mind.
Well, there's a whole bunch of, listen, anybody's insane if they commit any kind of crime, but are they insane by virtue of the law?
So what kind of time do you think he'll get?
Well, he is facing potentially up to 30 years if you look at the prosecution's theory, or as little as 5 years if you look at the defense theory.
What do you know about the culture of Peruvian jurisprudence that would indicate what he would serve?
You know what? I don't know very much about what would happen in Peru, other than the fact that this is a three women are on this panel who are making the decision. And there is some scuttle as whether or not the fact that they're women, that these victims are women, whether or not that there's going to be some sway because of that.
And do we really want to send him back to Aruba where they have given him a million chances to get away with murder?
Well, yeah, exactly. And listen, his father was part of the justice system. But even crazier is there's a woman here in the United States who's been his guardian angel, who has been paying his bills from here. Yeah.
Who is
she? Her name is Michelle, I don't know her last name, Heyman, I believe.
What's the connection?
She is a radiologist, 55-year-old woman in Florida, no connection whatsoever. She has made trips out to Peru. She is presumably there right now. She spent $20,000, made a CD for him, and his mother isn't even in court.
That's another discussion of women who fall in love with guys who commit murder. That's another.
That's a whole other show. Got married in prison. I mean, they get.
It's crazy.
Thank you, Robin.
Thank you.
Robin Sachs has the story from there.
And Robin, interestingly enough, at one point the crowd outside the courthouse was chanting Walgren's name like he was a rock star.
Listen, David Walgren is the rock star. He's the crime hottie right now. I mean, everyone talks about how handsome he is. He didn't get the floor in the way that the media would have wanted him to, but he probably got the floor in the way he wanted to.
And again, he just put on such a stellar case.
He really did. And if you look at Alan Jackson, who did the Spectre case, I mean, he's now running for DA, and he did spend some time with many television shows well after the Spectre case, after Spectre was actually sentenced and after the appeal process went on, he started doing more and more TV, and I would expect David Walgren to do the same.
Well, you know what? We're just glad we have you.
And I'm glad to be here.
Robin, I'll start with you because you think they're good.
I think they are great. They are a treasure trove of information. I mean, all you need to do is go back to the Casey Anthony case and remember those bar scene, beer-toting pictures by Casey Anthony. And guess who found those? Those were sleuthers who looked on photobucket.com and found those pictures and painted a picture that taunted her for the rest of the case and even the rest of her life. The one thing under the law that is not supposed to be a consideration is the ability to actually pay bail. So no prosecutor, no judge, no defense attorney should even put into the equation whether or not you can actually pay. So they should just make the bail based on the facts of the case, the seriousness of the crime, and the threat to other people and the flight risk.
So, Robin, you look at the timeline, and I have one right here, in fact, and it makes you sick. 6 agencies knew about this as far back as 1998, then 2002. The case just got transferred, left alone. Nobody did anything with it.
This case reeks so badly that I smell it from Pennsylvania right here. I mean, from person after person after person, agency after agency after agency. This smells of conspiracy all over the place, and I'm not even a conspirator theorist in any way, shape, or form, but that's what this smells like. I mean, here is what lengths did they go for a cover-up, and what the school ended up breeding was a society of saying, if you tell, you are a tattletale. The key is that parents need to take an active role in their kids' online activities. So often, parents are so preoccupied in their own devices, in their own computer, in their own life, that they don't stop to look to see what their kids are actually doing. So they need to stop being tech paranoid, get tech savvy. This jailbait game is just a form of social networking that hasn't hit mainstream in terms of people's knowledge of it, but it very much exists.